Welcome to Floating Leaf Tea Podcast. I'm Shiuwen.
And I'm Noah in Seattle. Bum, bum, bum!
It is much nicer, so we don't need to look at the computer screen and then, yeah.
What do you call it, Google or something? Can't stand it.
No. But anyway, today is actual luxurious for me because Noah is gonna brew tea for me today. Nice.
Luxurious. Smell this tea.
All right.
You know what that is?
Charcoal dongding.
I'll give you a hint. Charcoal dongding.
I already sold a bag.
I already gave you a hint. That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was in Taiwan, I drank tea with a lot of our teachers, our farmers, and when I got back and I brewed tea for Shiuwen, she's like, this is really, what did you say? This is really strong.
Strong, yeah.
And yeah, when I first got to Taiwan, we had a little opening ceremony for the office where we're shipping tea out of in Taipei. We had some local folks come by, and not necessarily tea aficionados, but you know, just some local people who drink tea. And I was brewing tea for them, and they're like, you seem like you know a lot about tea, but I can't taste anything. You can brew a little bit stronger. And that was when I realized that Taiwanese people drink tea a lot stronger than we drink it here. And then drinking tea for the rest of the trip with our teacher and with farmers, both the Baozhong farmer, Dongding farmer, High Mountain Oolong farmer.
Yeah, I think they all put
way more
leaves in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my first few times in Taiwan when I went to Farmer Chen's place. And some of you probably heard the story already before. I went to see Baozhong Farmer Chen, and he was not in yet. And so Mrs. Chen, yeah, wifey Chen,
Mama Chen,
sat me down and then brew me some Baozhong tea and said, wait for the farmer to come in. He's gonna be back really soon. He's just in a tea field, and he brewed me a Baozhong tea, and I drank a couple infusions, and then she started to notice, are you okay, Miss Tai? I said, yeah, it's good. The tea is really strong. I can't, just to be honest with you, I can't really taste, you know.
Like, I'm looking to see if the tea is up to what I'm looking for.
Yeah, but I can't really taste if this is good or bad, just to be honest. And she was very confused. She looked at me very confused. She said, would you like to brew the tea? And I said, well, that's really impolite. And she's like, I don't really care. Do you want to brew the tea? I said, yes, may I? She's like, yeah, sit down, brew the tea. And so she went to grab the same tea, some dry leaves for me, and I brew it. And I took the first sip, and I sip. I said, oh, this is good. And she took a sip, and she's like, she just looked at me and said, what? You brew tea like this? That's, well, you can brew tea like this. Nobody will buy my tea. And I said, no problem. People will buy this tea. And she was just so confused. She said, there's no flavor. The way you brew it, there's like no flavor. And that's the first time I experienced it. And then later I got more and more used to it. No problem. Back in 2011, 2011, I took a group of 6 people to Taiwan. Some of the people also couldn't taste the tea because it was too strong, but they dare not tell me. And so they just bought the tea with their faith because they had drank their tea before. They know the people that brought them to are very good. They bought the tea anyway. They brought it back to the States. They write to me, say, Shiuwen, the tea is really good. And I said, oh, yeah, of course. You taste it in Taiwan, right? She's like, I couldn't taste it back then. I said, what? So that the same experience when you are not used to it. But maybe Noah, you should talk about like Mr. John. He probably had a reason why he's doing that, right?
Did he have a reason why he's doing it? So when I sat down to drink tea with a teacher the first time, I stayed there for a week. When I sat down the first time, I was shocked by how strong it was, and how bitter it was, and how astringent it was. Because we always talk about how can I brew tea to get rid of astringency, get rid of the bitterness, you know. And sitting down with a tea master, and everything tastes really bitter and really astringent. I was surprised. And looking at how much tea leaves they put in there, I use about maybe 3 times as much as we're using at home. And I just kept going with it and kept drinking the tea, and eventually I got used to it, to the point where when I was in lockdown brewing tea for myself, I would always brew tea that strong because it just tasted right to me after a while. But in terms of why he does it, I guess he just likes tea to be that strong. With the charcoal dongding, specifically the tea that we're drinking today, he poured out a cup of this tea, smells the smelling cup. And when you brew this strong, there's just way more concentration in the smelling cup.
Yes.
That's a really big difference.
Yeah.
And then I was sitting with him and we were drinking the tea, and he said, we're talking about dongding specifically. He said dongding has a special kind of yun. We've talked about yun before in the podcast. Rhyme, resonance, after effect. Well, it's a hard word to translate.
Yeah, and I think I talk about it on
the essence
of a person. Like some people have yun wei, especially when they used to describe women. Not necessarily facial wise or physical wise, very
like overall there's something
beautiful, but there's something about the person that there's an essence about that person that is can you also translate 气质?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
So we're drinking whatever it is, yun. We're drinking dongding. He said dongding has a special kind of yun. And it's like at the base of the tongue there's like this kind of like tartness, sourness.
Yeah.
And I hadn't tasted that before in charcoal dongding. At least I hadn't explicitly noticed it before. And he's using like 3 times as much leaves as we use at home. The broth is like brown red, like dark. Like the broth is dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And once I tasted that yun, I was addicted to it. I started tasting charcoal dongding, drinking charcoal dongding at home all the time.
Yeah.
Just because I mean, when it's really strong like that, it feels like a different tea.
Yeah,
it feels like a different tea.
So my experience, so I started to do it too. After Noah told me that when he was still in Taiwan, so I used the previous batch of 4 rows. And that one, even though it's 4 rows, it was a softer tea in a way. There's a softness in the tea. And I used double of the amount that what I used to do it. And I brewed it one morning here for myself, and it was really satisfying.
That's the thing, is it's really satisfying.
And then my eyes just like, pop open. I was like, I like this. Oh, I like this.
Yeah. And you can do it with any tea, but dongding, it's like a new experience of dongding.
Yeah.
When you brew it that strong.
And so from the scent, when you brew it that strong, it's not like we want to make it strong. There is a strongness, but not super out of control. There's like almost like some extra stuff show up, and there is a satisfaction in a broth when you brew it this way, and you mentioned that yun, that sourness, that fruit, and then reach to like the
root of the tongue.
Yes.
The root of the tongue.
舌根, and then just go straight to the throat.
Yeah.
It's not the same like when I used to talk about the dongding traditional throat sensation kind of a stuff. It is a different it's a different sensation. It's really interesting. And now I wonder if we can find a true 铁观音 and let him teach us what is 观音韵.
Oh, good idea. Gotta find
the real 铁观音. And then because if you guys that like those teas, 洞顶 has 洞顶韵. The most famous tea that in Taiwan, they will use the word 韵, either essence or whatever, that specific feeling about each tea. It's actually 铁观音 tea.
观音韵.
Yeah, local people just call it 观音韵. I have never figured out what exactly 观音韵is.
Never had a really clear answer, right?
They just say 观音韵. I was like, oh, okay. And then for Chinese oolongs, the biggest tea,
言韵, rock
yes,
rhyme.
Rock rhyme. The cliff tea, they will say there's a rock feeling.
言韵.
Yun.
Like 岩茶. You guys have probably heard 岩茶for rock tea, cliff tea. 言韵.
Yeah. So that will be also.
That would be fun.
Yeah, and I wonder if it just tastes like a rock. It's that the 韵 of 言韵 because it tastes like a rock.
And in terms of brewing this way, like how to do it, the time isn't any less. The brewing time isn't any less.
No, it's like almost the same.
I'm actually using a gaiwan most of the time. I started using gaiwans when I was over there. I still use teapots. Gaiwan is just very flexible. And when I was trying so many different teas that I'm not familiar with, it's really handy. And yeah, brew it, like put enough leaves in there so there's maybe like 3 layers of leaves on the bottom of the gaiwan. And then it puffs up to the point where the lid is barely just fits on.
If you use a teapot to do this method, it will be very clear. You hardly can push the lid back into the teapot.
Yeah.
That's normally how I do it nowadays. It's really fun. It doesn't mean that you will like it in the beginning. And I think maybe...
But you drink it for a week, I bet you'll end up liking it.
Maybe this time the teacher just want to show that. Because sometimes, tea is like affinity and we'll call it 缘分. It's chances when you are in a certain space, certain things in tea will show up. Because we can say in the past few years, when we go to Mr. Zhang's place, it's always the assistant, Apinjie, brew the tea.
Yeah.
And she brew tea strong. But I have never noticed it this way.
Yeah. Not this strong. It doesn't feel this strong when we've been there.
Doesn't feel this strong.
Yeah.
But it's always Mr. Zhang gave her the tea and then she brew it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel it's strong. It's because she's in a bad mood. Different kind of strongness. But this year it looks like they are giving you a very different experience. Everything is more intimate because, hey, you know what? Nobody goes there.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
And
some,
also,
1 or 2 still go there to drink tea. And then later lockdown is like nobody.
And also I kind of, in a way, I got to be there as a student rather than a customer. Mm-hmm. So I get to go in the morning when there's no other customers there also.
And they are really tasting their own tea.
Yeah.
And figure out their own tea at that moment. Afternoon, when they brew tea for people, might be a different setting. Yeah. Yeah, it's totally to the roof of the tongue, 舌根.
Yeah.
Yeah, super fascinating.
It's really full. I think, shout out to Boychik. I don't know if she listens to the podcast.
Yeah.
Boychik, I think, brews tea similar to this.
Strong, right?
Yeah, I've seen the color of her Dongding liquid, and it's like about this color. Yeah.
Cool.
But if you've been brewing tea with like 5 grams for a 120 milliliter pot, also great. If you feel like trying something new,
maybe use 15.
15, yeah. Just give it a try.
Give it a try. Yeah. And then we actually, since we're talking about this, and this morning I just had an idea, we should move this specific podcast into a live session so that you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would like Noah to talk about pouring water into the pot to open the tea.
Yeah.
In Mr. Zhang's way. and I think that's also very helpful.
The nice thing about it is that it's not hard to do.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to study any kind of crazy thing. It's just a different way of pouring the water.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that too.
Yeah, but I think if we do it in a live session, to do it in a image where people can see it and to see how much leaf you put in, to see the color.
The color of the broth is really different.
Yeah, and to see how much the leaf puff up, so that people can have in a way, a better imagery reference rather than just listening to it without an image.
Yeah, we'll do a live session. We got to figure out when we're going to do that.
Yeah.
But
Pretty
we'll do it.
soon. In this next couple of days, we are going to have actually 3 or 4 live sessions scheduled up on our website, and then we'll send out announcements through our regular social media places, I guess.
Yeah.
Which will be IG and Facebook.
Yeah. And email.
Yeah. That's about it. Yeah, but this is something very interesting.
It's like charcoal only becomes a different tea. It really is.
Yeah.
Charcoal.
And I still like the old style, the way that I did it before, because this is, you are putting almost 3 times more tea leaves in there. I think let's put it in a caffeine context. There is a strong impact.
Yeah.
There's a strong impact on me. But I guess after you get used to it, it's also okay. Because I think, like Mr. Su, when he brewed tea on the Dongding Mountain, he also used a lot.
Like that too.
Yeah, strong.
And the Belgian farmer.
He will soak it for a long time because he couldn't stop talking.
Yeah.
And he said, drink my Dongding tea, no problem. All day long, you go to sleep. No problem. Everything is natural. And in my mind, I still say, I can't sleep. Yeah, and then Baozhong farmer and wife also brew the tea really strong.
Yeah.
So I think here in the shop, we kind of do something in between. In between Taiwan and 6 grams. So I guess we roughly do about like 8 to 10 grams of tea. I never really measure it, but I kind of look at it. But this one is strong. Like Noah nowadays brew tea really strong after he come back from Taiwan.
And I mean, it was a combination of being in drinking tea with people that brew tea like this, and then being by myself and kind of locked down. So I just was spending a lot of time drinking tea like this. And now when I drink tea that's a little bit weaker, it's hard for me to taste anything.
Maybe in a live session, if we have time, we compare the 2 methods. Yeah. To see about the specific feeling of the scent and the broth. I think it will show a huge difference.
Yeah. It's so satisfying, right?
Yeah. And then I don't even know how to describe this. Yes, besides the word satisfaction. Yeah, but there is dryness. There's a lot of dryness.
Yeah. And there's bitter too.
And there's bitter, but there's
I talked to the teacher. I said, it's hard to not. I said it's bitter. There's a bitterness in there. He said, It's so hard to translate. Sometimes Chinese, they say it so perfectly. 苦的好. It's bitter in a good way.
Yeah, 苦的好. Sometimes bitter. I mean, we talk about this in a episode. I think like there's a certain bitterness in tea is like super focused and super clean, and normally you taste it's like, damn it, this is a really good bitter.
Yeah.
And some bitter is really bad.
Yeah.
It's like it's spread out. It lost focus.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
a good bitter is like it's in there.
It's in there, and it's very focused, very clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just like dry, some good dry wine. It actually bring out.
They call it tannins, right?
A good clean kind of a feeling. Yeah. And I think in tea it will have that too. Like this kind of bitter it's super satisfying. Yeah. But I think the caffeine sense is a little bit strong for me. Yeah.
You know, if I don't drink like 3 or 4 of these a day, I feel kind of like
I know. He just like nowadays. No, I just like You just like, oh, can we drink tea now? And at about 6 p.m., he's like, hey, you want to drink some pu'er? I said, not really. And then at about 10 p.m., well, if you want to drink hong shui, I'll drink hong shui with you.
Yeah.
I said, not right. I drink hong shui in the afternoon.
Well, to be really honest, like what happened was I was at teacher's shop, and the very first day that I went there was a lot of people there. We were tasting tea. It was because on Saturdays, they only open for tea tasting. They don't do their morning, stretching their taste buds or whatever, tasting teas and stuff for themselves. They're only tasting tea with customers from 2 until 6. So I went there at 2. I hung out. There was a bunch of people at the table. And it was the first time I ever drank teacher's own tea that he brewed. And he has Parkinson's. I've said that before. He's Parkinson's, so he's shaky. And when he brews tea, it's messy. And it's not super fine, actually. I was expecting if Tea Master brews tea, it's going to be really fine and really pretty. It's not, actually. It's really bitter and really astringent. Like the amount of tea that he was using, and it's like sheng pu'er.
Wow.
Really strong sheng pu'er, like the really strong stuff. And using a lot of it to the point where it just like a blast in your mouth, like just blast you, But there was a depth to it that I've never tasted before, and it was incredible. And I just kept drinking it, but we'd already had 10 teas that strong. And then I just kept drinking it. I couldn't stop drinking it, but I was like, my hands were kind of shaky, I was sweating,
Yeah.
And I started crying.
Aww.
And just feel something that beautiful, and it was a moment of really strong intensity. And then after that, I wasn't so afraid of just drink a lot of strong tea.
He broke the barrier.
He broke the barrier, yeah. Yeah.
He said, let me show you, young man.
Yeah. Then after that, we drank another 2 teas.
Holy moly.
That day we drank that really crazy pour. Then we drank the banjiang after that, and then su yue after that.
Oh. Wow.
It's like a fireworks show. Sometimes you're just like, you want a good tea? I'll show you good tea. Here's another good tea. Here's another good tea. I just want to keep drinking really good teas. Can't stop.
Yeah, all those pu'er he mentioned, excellent teas. And there was one that I never tasted before. I wanted to buy it, but I don't think they have any volume, so he wouldn't sell it to me. But I have the rest of the 2.
But I kept begging him, and he sent a little sample.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm gonna do a special tea drinking session with that one.
Yeah.
But I have the rest of the tea. I'm gonna try the banjiang tube pu'er again.
Yeah, that banjiang is really good.
Yeah.
That kind of thickness and that satisfying level of satisfyingness is really addictive.
Yeah. And I think, before I always look for there is a basic to good and amazing throat sensation in the dongding. But since you mentioned that dongding yun, and you are right, it is an addiction. Now when I do dongding, I don't just look for the throat, because I know it's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Actually, it's the 舌根.
Yeah. The base of the tongue, the root of the tongue.
Yeah, that specific sensation and salivation, actually.
Yeah, salivation is really strong.
And then
it makes it feel refreshing,
and
even
then
though it's a really heavy tea.
The sourness, the presence of that fruit sour that actually show up only very intensely in that location. It is an addiction, because when you
really
notice
good.
something in a tea, you want that to show up. And the salivation is not like, but dongding, Shiuwen, you talk about it so much, there's always salivation. Yeah, yes. Like on the side of the tongue, and then on the top of the tongue, on the cheek. But this is different. This salivation is different. It's actually the moment the breath hit your mouth, and it just centralized in the base of the tongue, and then the immediate together with the breath, there is a sensation, and there's a salivation.
It makes it feel more refreshing than a glass of cold water.
Yeah.
Or a Gatorade or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's why, they say, a good tea, it 可以生津，可以解渴. Salivates a person and thirst quench,
Yeah.
etc., etc. And sometimes with charcoal roast tea or dark tea, I was like, how can it be, thirst quenching because you feel hot already, right? And even though in summertime, no matter which season, I still drink hot tea. And once in a while, yes, I will do cold brew tea and stuff. But
that's like on top of hot tea.
Yeah, on top of hot tea. But sometimes I always feel like, well, maybe like the Baozhong tea, High Mountain tea, I call it refreshing.
And it is. It really is.
Yeah, it's refreshing. And then yesterday we were like brewing a really strong, dark 6 roast tea to 3 tea tasters, and then they just keep saying, this is refreshing, right? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, what? What are they? Wow, it's very interesting. They actually describe the tea that way. And I didn't think they were wrong. I was just I was more spending my mind on like, what do they see in this tea that they will call it refreshing? Because it's dark.
Yeah. Heavy flavors.
Yeah, heavy flavor. You can taste the roast, and then they keep saying it's very refreshing. and so I think it made me look at the tea because I want to know what they are saying, and I think with that amount of that style of salivation and then that clean finish, it is very thirst quenching because in your mouth it's like. How do you say, no burden afterwards, and then it made me think of, like teachers say, you have to drink tea also with people because you learn from them too, not just yourself. You learn from yourself and you learn with people. Yeah. And I think yesterday there was a moment that I tried to learn from those tea tasters. Just because they comment on refreshing on a really dark tea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was really fun. Tea is so much fun. 对不对?
Yeah. It really is. Another thing, if you do decide to try brewing tea really strong like this at home, if it tastes like really bitter and really astringent tea, it's way too strong. You do what you want, but my advice is drink it. Is just drink it. Is cool. Just drink it, and then, if you can, do it again. Just like push through a little bit, because it's surprising at first, and it is more bitterness and astringency than might be used to.
Yeah, but, and then discover there's things that is coming back. We are not. In a way, telling people to
it's
drink.
It's not like macho, like, oh, you drink a really strong tea, yeah.
Yeah, or tell people to accept that strong.
No.
Strong, bitter, astringency tea. It's some teas when you brew strong, they actually a lot of good things will show up together.
Yes.
Yeah, or afterwards, and
try it with our Dongting traditional or charcoal Dongting for starters. Those are like guaranteed. It's gonna work.
Yeah. It's harder to break those 2 teas. Yeah, because I think their base will still hold there.
Yeah. But just maybe it's hard to talk about the pouring of the water, but it's also important. It's hard to talk about the pouring of the water without a video.
Yeah. Whoa.
So maybe wait until the live session and then we can do it then.
Yeah.
But drink it. When you do it, just drink it all.
Yeah.
Drink it from start to finish. Drink it twice. Drink it 3 times in a day.
Good advice, Noah.
I know. Some of the best advice I've given. The reason I said it is because it was, for me, it was like, it was doing that 10 times in one day, and I was just like, I thought I was like, I really can't drink any more tea, and then I kind of pushed through, and I was like, wow, this is the way the tea should be tasted. And also I said that because the Dongting farmer. So he asked me what my family does for a living. And I was like, my mom is a teacher. My sister is studying environmental sciences. My dad works on software, and my brother sells pot. And I think it's great because I sell leaves and he sells leaves, and people usually think it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, Farmer Sue is like, he's like, it's better than selling alcohol because alcohol is really bad for you. But pot is also not good for you. What you need to do is brew a really strong pot of tea for him. Brew it so strong that he can barely drink it, and then make him drink 6 cups of it. Make him drink 12 cups of it. Make him drink it every day. And then after that, you can brew tea at a regular strength for him. But first, you gotta brew really strong. It'll get rid of the poison in his body, and then he won't want to be high on marijuana anymore. He just want to be drinking tea all the time. I said, okay, sounds good.
The thing is, when Noah brew tea this strong, the tea foundation was not once broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you pour the water in really, really soft, like too soft, and it doesn't get in there, the tea can feel men diao.
Men is
It can feel
like you so
like if a
go home, cook some zucchini and actually cover it up. Stir fry the zucchini and cover it
with a lid.
Yeah, cover it with a lid, and then maybe a little bit overcooked, and then take it out and eat it. It doesn't feel very nice on the texture. That is men in Chinese.
Yeah. Or when it's like really, really humid and hot out, and you're just like,
yeah, that's also a men feeling.
yeah. Or like when the windows have been closed in your house for a really long time, and you're just like it's stuffy.
Yeah, stuffy.
Yeah.
And it actually shows up in food when we don't cook it well.
Yeah.
It cover the lid in cooking. I think in Chinese cooking is have to do it at the right time, at the right moment. You don't just cover the lid on especially vegetables.
Yeah. So, when you pour the water in, you gotta have enough force behind it.
And as we said before, we are going to do a live session on that. So we'll combine the two methods, and then let people see the image of the water pouring. And we always come back to that because it's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It decides majorly on how the tea is gonna show up.
And people talk about parameters of tea brewing.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can keep everything else constant. You can keep your vessel you see if you use the same gaiwan every single session. Use boiling water every single session.
Yeah.
Use the same amount of leaves every single session.
Yeah.
But try changing the water pouring.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That will be a fun session too.
Yeah. That's key.
Yeah. That one is actually the key to decide how the tea is gonna show up. Yeah.
And it's not like every tea you want to be forceful like that.
No.
But with this tea, it works really well that way. It opens it.
Yeah. Oh, very fun.
Yeah, I feel great. I could do another session.
I know. You can do like 10 sessions here.
Let's do a pour.
After Noah comes back, he doesn't want to work anymore. He just wants to sit there and drink tea all day long.
Hey, I get up at 8 o'clock and drink tea in the morning before work. Wow.
So as we said, we are gonna do some live sessions with you guys on over the net, and we will have a session on Dongding tea and talk about brewing specifically on that one. And after that, we will schedule still summertime. Lighter teas will be delightful. We're going to do a Baozhong tea blind tasting, and then followed by 2 different Jinxuan teas to compare the quality. And when the fall, autumn kicks in, we will start to do some darker teas again. And so just stay tuned. The schedule is coming up because we want to schedule it ahead of the time. So Sunny in Taiwan has time to send out the samples to your home before you guys can join the live session. So it looks like from Taiwan to US is roughly about 2 to 4 weeks. And please keep in mind, the U.S. Postal Service doesn't key in the tracking number here. Okay? So if you really feel uncertain about that method, you just pay $10 extra, which ship you by DHL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so far, just to be clear, it has been very reliable. We haven't had anything lost so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's not just 2 weeks. Some of the guys, some of the people responded back is 4 weeks. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
let you know that. And so we want to schedule it ahead of the time so Sunny can send it out to you. A lot of Europeans are actually using the DHL service.
Yeah.
Because of a pandemic, some postal service doesn't even do it at all. I think that's it. And for in-store people, we are also going to come up with schedules for you to come in, pre-scheduled to do private tea tastings. We don't accept walk-ins anymore because our place is really too small. It's like 280 square feet only in a size. So if we have tea taster here without mask and then walk-ins, it's like too many.
Yeah.
For my comfort zone right now.
Yeah, it's 280 square feet. That's like not counting the tea table and all the boxes that we have on the floor. And the shelves of tea.
Yeah.
So,
And then 2 of us work here, 3 tea tasters, walk-ins. There's like too many people.
Yeah, too much concentration.
yeah.
So we'll be scheduling private tastings. It'll be up on the website.
Yeah.
Soon.
Soon.
It'll be up there soon. Hopefully within in mid-July it'll be very definite what's going on.
Yeah. Cool. So stay cool out there. Drink a lot of hot tea.
Yep.
It will cool you down according to Chinese wisdom. For some wisdom, you just have to put your faith in it and just do it. And you will feel really refreshing. Because I think there are a lot of heat waves in a lot of places.
Yes.
It finally also hit northwest. You can do your cold brew tea or do the hardcore hot brewing tea. It's really refreshing. I do it. Hey, challenge you. Can you do it? Just do it. Okay? And drink some bitter tea. It's really good for you.
Yeah.
Just 吃苦, take the bitter. It's really good. Yeah.
So with that, we'll see you on next Monday.
Monday.
Bye-bye.
Happy tea drinking. Bye-bye.